Hello, everybody. It is Acadius, and I am bringing you a special thank you video to some very special friends that are in my life. God knows I've tried recording this several times, and I thought I got it right the other day, but I realized I didn't really address some topics, and so I feel that I wasn't doing a thank you video any justice. Anyway, let's get right to it. So, um, where do I even start? So I'm gonna just do, I guess, a shout out to some close friends, Punny Daddy, Mrs. Moose, and Miss Vixen, or you might also know her as Gaming Equals Love. And they are fantastic people who been in my life for several years. And I know somebody, well, why are you making a video and thanking them? Why can't you just do it, you know, write them a letter or something? um, because I feel this is the only proper way to thank them is by sharing their generosity, as it were. So let me just back up to as to why their friendships are special. And a little back history is back in 2013, I had some what I thought were close friends on Twitter. And an incident occurred where people showed their true colors. And it was a mess. I was thrown under the proverbial bus, and I didn't know what was going on. And it was basically a game of he said, as it were. And nobody asked me like, hey, what's going on? And what it came down to at the end of the day was that somebody was just jealous of me in the aspect that apparently I was talking to somebody that they really liked, and they didn't like that. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion in itself. Anyway, after that, people who I had thought were my friends, they didn't ask me like, hey, Acadius, was your side of the story, where I would have been like, I don't know what's going on. That would have been probably my initial answer. But nobody asked. And so I guess like I said, in a good way, I saw people's true colors. And it's that kind of thing where you're like, well, if that's the kind of people they are, I don't want to be friends with them. And then it was later, like 2 years after that incident, that these people who were involved, who more or less abandoned me, they realized that they were misled, lied to. But instead of, one of them came forward and said, I am sorry, Acadius, I really am, I misjudged, I, you know, just took the person at their word. To which I was like, it's fine, water under the bridge, move forward. Meanwhile, the others, they just more or less stuck their head in the sand and like, I don't know, and didn't, not that I was looking for groveling, like, oh, Acadius, we're so sorry, can you ever forgive us? No, I'm not like that. um but anyway, so after that whole incident, I felt jaded, I guess it would be the word. And I just was like, okay, I'm not going to get close to people as it is on social media. And then in real life, well, we know I got my issues. So, so then enters the three people I mentioned, Punny, Vixen, and Mrs. Moose. And Punny was the first one. And I'm not using real names here because I'm respecting their privacy, and I'm not going to be talking about their personal lives, really, what they do for their livings and stuff. Again, I'm not going to be violating any privacy. So, anyway, though, uh, Powney and Mrs. Moose first just randomly, I remember, to my recollection, they sent me a Starbucks gift card. Punny had asked me for what's your email. I said it's you know, Acadius, blah, blah, blah. And next thing I know, I got a notification that it's a Starbucks gift card. And I was like, wait, what? And it was just out of the blue. I did unprovoked, as it were, you know. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? You know. And I was just kind of flabbergasted by it. And so I was like, well, thank you very much. And it showed me, okay, well, there are nice people out there. My other half of me is like, what do, somebody does something for you, the way kind of raised is, what do you want? What do you want in return for this? But that's my upbringing. So I was like, wow, these people are really nice. Now, I'd known Punny before he and Mrs. Moose had become a couple. And I always felt there was like a brotherly connection with Punny because he and I more or less are cut from the same cloth. Is just kind of a messed up background to a degree. We both love video games, and we kind of sorry about that. There was an interruption there for whatever reason. As I was saying, Punny and I kind of process our day-to-day problems in the same way. I think we both become reserved and whatever. But anyway, I got to see Punny and Mrs. Moose's relationship thrive, start to where it is now. From start to where it is now. I was going to say from start to finish, but that's wrong to say that. So start to where it is now. And now, around the same time, I had, in 2015, I'd been friends with Vixen, aka Gaming Equals Love, for a reasonable period of time. And I think, if my memory serves me correct, she was the very first person I gave a shout out to in 2015 in one of my first gaming videos, which had me playing The Witcher 3. And I think that was back when I was playing that version on the Xbox One. Anyway, and Mrs. Vixen is just a wonderful woman who is a fellow geek and a very kind-hearted person. And she was one of the ones as well that was pushing for me to set up a wish list for the animal rescue. Now, a little backstory to the animal rescue. Due to, what was it, 3 years ago, there were budget cuts, and it required me to pay for the pet supplies out of pocket. And let me tell you, that adds up quickly. Sorry, just noticed something on my controller. And so I would mention in passing, like, it's taken a toll on me, don't know what to do. And so Mrs. Moose and Punny and Vixen were saying, hey, create a Amazon wish list, And I'm like, okay. And I was reluctant to do that because my pride, as it were, was just like, no, don't ever ask for help. You know how that goes. And so I finally did it, and they have been the constant with their support. And that's what just boggles my mind, are people being that generous. And I know somebody else can say, well, it's new. It's not like, they're giving you, wealth or whatever. Well, yeah, in a certain aspect, yes, they are. They're providing, well, I know it sounds cheesy, but the wealth of friendship. But it's true. And So they provide with and sporadically, because I don't go on social media and say, oh, well, it'd be nice to have a, supply of food right now because I'm getting low. I keep that to myself, and because I try to pay out of my own pocket as long as I can. So anyway, going back to their generosity, so like uh, Vixen will just, and she'll also just check in on me, like how you doing, and I'll check in on her. Just that's what friends do. And they showed me that like I can trust again, and I know that sounds something like out of a movie of a week. You've shown me how to trust again, but you get what I'm saying. And with Punny and Mrs. Moose, uh, these people, they sense like when I'm distraught about something. I mean, like, let's go with case in point of last year. I have this Egyptian pendant that I've had for 20 years. Okay, and it's part of me. It's more or less like almost like an heirloom, as it were. Uh, I'm not going to go into the whole history of it, but we all know that my ethnicity is Egyptian and Syrian. And so this pendant has always been with me. It's been through every accident I've ever had. It's been through the dark times that I've been through. I've always had it on, always. If I don't have it on, I feel powerless, naked, whatever you want to call it. So last year during one of my runs, I lost it. It fell off my neck, and I didn't realize it until I got home. Sorry for that sip. I'm thirsty, and I'm sure it sounds like, oh my god, that's a new headset. So anyway, so I lost it. I even made a post about it, like I can't find it, and I was looking. I think I spent like 2 hours retracing my steps. And in the meantime, though, Punny and Mrs. Moose, they jumped to action and they ordered, obviously it wasn't the exact same one, but they ordered a new pendant for me. And I was like, and they let me know within a few hours. And I was like, oh my God, you know? And it's the night I wear, I never take it off, you know? Well, unless I am working in the sun, then I'll take it off because I don't want it creating a mark or whatever on my neck. But you get what I'm saying. But boy, I get distracted easily. But point being though is that they didn't have to do it, and it doesn't look cheap. Anybody who knows me knows I've posted about it. In fact, my next tattoo is going to be of this. And I mean, who does that? I was flabbergasted by that. Like, holy, these people more or less don't know me from Adam, but I feel like I've known them for decades in a good way. And that wasn't the first time that they just like, oh, hey, here, we saw that you like this. Here you go. And I mean, like, everybody knows I love red vines. And one time they sent me this bucket, or more or less a bucket. I don't know how you label it, but it was a big thing of red vines. And I was just like, whoa, what the heck? And because we all know I love my red vines and Mountain Dew. And then there was another time where I made a post about, I was trying to find a Keanu Reeves coloring book. I know somebody's out there going, well, that sounds kind of adolescent. No, everybody knows that I am a huge Keanu Reeves fan. And I think these three people especially know how much I'm a Keanu Reeves fan. And they are a fan of him as well. But anyway, I digress. So Punny and Mrs. Moose sent me the Keanu Reeves coloring book. I dare not color in it because it's just too awesome, and I just mess it up. You know, I'm a writer. I'm not an artiste. Anyway, and and then of course, you know, with Punny, you know, because his love for video games, and he knows that he shares the same love for video games, so he will randomly like, hey, have you ever played Ni no Kuni, you know, the Wrath of the White Witch? And I'm like, oh, you know, I know of it, I never played it. And he's like, you have to. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm like, okay, I gotta put that on my wish list. And he's like, no, no, boom, here you go, you know. And he gifted it to me. And then what was it? The Modern Warfare 2 remaster that they released. You know, which Modern Warfare 2 was like the pinnacle of the Modern Warfare games. Seriously, love that. But anyway, he didn't have to. It was just like what? But one of the first things that he sent to me was his loot box crate. God, what was that? Was that 2013? Maybe, I don't know. He had asked for my address, and I'm like, you know, and because I'm very like, what do you want? But I did, and because he said, oh, I got something for you, and he sent it to me, and it had the Batman slash Joker pop figure, and the box was really cool, and it had um, um, Batman comic in there. It was really cool. It really, and still, I still had the pop figure up on display. I still had the loot box crate itself, and I was like, what? This is just so nice. And it again just took me aback of generosity. Same thing with Miss Vixen. You know, she just like not too long ago she messaged me. She's like, hey, I woke up, thought of you, and ordered some cat food out of your wish list. And weirdly, it arrived that day. You know, I've never seen an Amazon order come in that day. So, and then you know, I love checking in on her, just like, hey, how are you? In fact, I like checking in on all my friends now. Um, and the reason why that is the friendship is important. Now, I'm going to cut back to 2021, and I had an incident where I was hurt. And I know everybody right now is like, oh, poor Acadius, he was hurt. And I was saying hurt by a friend where, okay, so little backstory is that I think we're at this point, we're familiar that one of my best friends in real life, you know, meaning that I knew him in real life and hung out and all that stuff, he passed away in 2020. And it was just suddenly. I mean, so suddenly where we were texting, and I think it was 3 or 4 hours later, he died, you know? And I was like, wait, what? And that did me in for a loop. So I was like, okay, you know, I felt like I needed to show more gratitude toward my friends, the ones who I valued as close. And so that included Punny, Mrs. Moose, Vixen, and this fourth person. I'm not gonna mention names or whatever like that because that's not what this is about naming names. But I was also going through a dark place, as it were, and so I bit the bullet. And then I said, okay, you know, I seriously, I was in a dark place. And this particular friend who fancies themselves as a, you know, ally for mental health, you know, which is a freaking joke in retrospect. But anyway, I reached out. I said, look, I'm really going through this. You know, I called this person on the phone. And now this is it's a Twitter friend. And I called this person. I said, I'm going, and I specified what was going on. And I was met with, well, that sucks. And then it was just shrugged off. And I was like, oh. And I felt so embarrassed. I really did. I mean, I felt like I made a fool of myself. And I was like, oh God, I said too much. You know what I mean? Where you think you revealed too much something about yourself, and then it feels like it worked against you. And that's what happened with me. So I really just pulled back. I was like, oh, for God's sake, what have I done? Acadius, you idiot. Why did you, and all that. And it was like Punny and Vixen sensed something was up. And they reached out. And they had no idea of what had happened. They didn't, because I don't talk about it. And that's the thing they didn't know at that time. With them reaching out like that, it was making a difference to me. It was showing me, like, okay, you know what? I still have friends out there. They're these awesome people that I've been talking about here. They are there for me. Now, I know I didn't share what that dark place was with them, because I also view it as they have their own adult problems to be going through. I mean, let's see, I'm trying to like phrase things so I'm not divulging information, but we like Vixen, she works insane hours. I mean, seriously, I just don't know how she does it, let alone Punny, who works long ass hours at his job as well. And then you got Mrs. Moose, who is being a mom, you know? And I'm like, how do you, I don't even know. I'm not a parent, obviously. But how do you do all that? I mean, sure, I got my own stuff, but it's nothing in comparison to their jobs, I believe, and everything that they do. I'm just like, wow. And yet they find the time, allot the time to say, hey, Acadius, how are you doing? Hey, I saw this. I think you'd like it. You know? And that just meant the world to me. And it not reaffirmed my faith and friendship, because it wasn't cracked after that moment in 2020 where I was just easily dismissed. And the thing was, I was, somebody could, oh, what was the reaction we're looking for? At that time, I would just wanted somebody to listen to me. But instead, you get met. I mean, it was literally the words, well, that sucks. And then it was like, enough about me. Sorry about that interruption again. But like I was saying, it was enough about me. Let's talk about me. That's what that reaction felt like. And and I never brought it up to that person. I'm just like, whatever. That person just, you know what? I think at the end of the day, that person turned out to be a real piece of shit. I'll say that much for sure. And however, like, I'm returning back to the point that Vixen, Punny, and Mrs. Moose, their selflessness, and there will be a time where I can repay them, not in so much monetary value, and like, oh, here's a check for $10,000. I mean, ideally, if I was wealthy, I'd be like, this is the least I can do, and hopefully, this will allow you to do whatever you want. But anyway, that's like a whole publishing deal that is down the road, hopefully. But like I said, I feel like there's a connection with all of us. And I'm not saying that we're all broken people, but I think that, and to a certain degree, water seeks its own level in the terms of emotional backgrounds. And with these friends of mine, I feel like, we've all endured some, I don't want to say tragedy. I don't want, it's just, we've dealt with certain aspects of life that a lot of people probably have gone through, some more than others. And I think that maybe that's what binds us. And I'm not trying to sound, magical here. I'm just saying it's something that it's a commonality that we are brought together on. If that makes any sense, And with these, and I'm not trying to put any pressure on, like, if suddenly these people were to, quit social media or whatever. If they were to quit, oh, I'm going to be lost without them. I'd feel an emptiness. In fact, if anything, these people have kept me around on social media because we all know lately it's just been a shit show. And I'm not going to take a sip because I'm sure that just sounds weird when I'm... But anyway, I think I've pretty much said what I wanted to say. I've tried recording this so many times. And I will upload it and I put it as private to, before I add a thumbnail. And then I listen to part of it and I'm like, this sounds horrible. And I try to do, well, one of the few times I tried doing this is while playing. And let me tell you, it's one thing to be streaming and talking. It's another thing to be, recording and talking as you are actually playing, trying to make a thank you video like this one. It because I get distracted, I suddenly get quiet, and I'm like, oh, I'm not. Anyway, 10 minutes later, and so there was probably like a lot of dead silence, or God knows if I was, breathing, but anyway, and I think it was this almost a half hour long, and I meant to keep it like 15 minutes. But anyway, I want to thank you guys sincerely. That's what this is all about, is just thanking you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do, for the good people that you are, and showing me that friendship can still be a thing. Okay, that all said, you guys can turn this off and go home or wherever. But anyway, anybody else listening to this, I want you to know there are good people out there. Alright, that's that. I'll see you when I see you.